Hi everyone. I just got, found out about the word about what happened with the Baseball Hall of Fame and who was nominated this year. So I'm gonna give my little personal opinion on it. You know, I was born in 1979. I'm a 46-year-old male. I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching greats, and I know it was during the performance enhanced drug era, but they still deserve those. They still got records, and he still deserved to be in the Hall of Fame and in that hall because how many other Hall of Famers have done terrible stuff and they still got in the Hall of Fame, and they all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm a little kind of pissed right now because I'm a Red Sox fan. All right, so my favorite player, one of my favorite Red Sox growing up was Roger Clemens, and he had phenomenal numbers. Phenomenal numbers. Yes. Is there speculation he took performance enhancing drugs? Yes, there is. Okay? But he still has those numbers. And there's, like I said, there was other players that did more horrible stuff that are in that Hall of Fame. Um, but you got guys like, and my family's Yankees fans. So I'm going to back this Yankee up. Don Mattingly should be in the Hall of Fame too. Who is this Kent? Like, I've heard of him, but like, he's not a big name like Clemens. He's not a big name like Don Mattingly. He's not a big name like Barry Bonds. You know, Mark McGuire, Sosa. What's this committee thinking? What? I want to know what they are thinking when they nominate or they put someone in the Hall of Fame. Because the Hall of Fame is supposed to be of great athletes, great people. And you know what? Like I said, some of them did probably some stupid things when they were playing, but they still got those numbers. You know, I'm not all for drug use in sports. I believe in natural ability and natural talent. So, even despite with those drug and performance enhancing drugs, I guarantee they were still great and still put up the numbers and still Hall of Fame status numbers. So it just ticks me off and pisses me off that, yes, am I personally pissed off because I grew up liking Roger Clemens and I collect his baseball cards and I want my grandson to have those cards and everything. It pisses me off because he deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame with all, in the Hall of Greats. So does Barry Bonds. So does Don Mattingly. They're phenomenal. They were phenomenal players. And I feel the Hall of Fame is totally disrespect. Total disrespect. I mean, Babe Ruth was a wife beater, alcoholic. Everyone, it was a womanizer, alcoholic, and he was put in. No offense. And Babe Ruth is a phenomenal player, and he is one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest. But you can't tell me not all those players on that wall doesn't have one bad thing that they did. Not that they didn't do one bad thing. Clemens did a bad thing if he did the performance enhancing drugs. Mattingly, if he did it, if Barry Bonds, and they say he did, they say that those guys did, but still they put up numbers, and they should belong in the Hall of Fame. Look at other sports as a reference. Hulk Hogan used performance enhancing drugs. Macho Man Randy Savage, performance enhancing drugs. And what? They're sitting in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, right? So, what's the deal, yo? Roger Clemens, Don Mattingly, Barry Bonds should all been put by now into the Baseball Hall of Fame, along with some of those older ones that haven't gotten to the Hall of Fame from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and the 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, 30s. You know, they should all be looked at. So I don't know what you're doing on committees. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know if you're holding grudges from when you guys played, but y'all need to get over your grudges. Y'all need to get over your personal opinions and put the guys who rightfully belong in there. Like I said, I'm not saying that Kent wasn't a great player. I'm not saying that. But he's not the names like Clemens, Don Manley, Bonds, Pete Rose. You know what I'm saying? Wake up, committees. Wake up. You really need. You really need to, because you do not. I don't think you realize how many fans, especially of my era, were getting older in their 40s, late 30s, 40s, early 50s. How many of you pissed off? And it's not gonna look good. Think about what you did. Clemens, Bonds, Manley should be in the Hall of Fame. Have a nice day.